Captain Taewon Park stood on the bridge of Earth's orbital defense station. His dark eyes fixed on the main screen showing the approaching alien fleet. The blue light from the display reflected off his face, highlighting the deep lines carved by years of military service. "They're coming in slowly," said Commander Ji-Eun Kim, her slender figure appearing beside him. "Almost casual. They think this will be easy," Taewon replied. "A simple show of force to make us surrender." 3 weeks earlier, humanity had made first contact with the galactic hegemony. The aliens came with promises of friendship and technology. 7 different species working together as one united force. They seemed peaceful at first. Earth's leaders had been hopeful. That hope died when the diplomatic ship returned as nothing but floating debris. 43 human ambassadors lost in what the hegemony called a cultural misunderstanding. Their real message became clear soon after: Earth would join the hegemony as a subject world or face destruction. Taewon picked up his coffee mug, the liquid inside long cold. "What do our scans tell us about their ships?" Ji-Eun tapped her tablet. 7 warships, all larger than anything we've put in orbit publicly. Energy readings suggest weapons we can't match with our conventional fleet. "What they can see of our fleet," Taewon corrected. He set down his mug and walked to the large window overlooking Earth. The blue planet looked peaceful from here. He intended to keep it that way. "Send the alert to Luna Base. It's time to activate the Phantom program." Ji-Eun's eyes widened. "Are you sure? The project hasn't completed all its tests. We're out of options. The hegemony needs to learn that humans don't respond well to threats." Deep beneath the lunar surface, in a facility unknown to most of humanity, engineers and scientists worked frantically. For 15 years, Earth's nations had secretly pooled resources to create something revolutionary. The hegemony's arrival had only accelerated their timeline. Back on the defense station, Lieutenant Kang's voice cut through the tense silence. "Sir, they've established communication." The main screen changed to show an alien face. Its skin was gray-green with ridge-like structures where a human would have eyebrows. When it spoke, its mouth moved in unnatural ways. "This is Admiral Dredd of the Galactic Hegemony. Your world has been granted the honor of joining our collective. Disable your primitive weapons and prepare for our arrival." Taewon stepped forward. "This is Captain Park of Earth Defense. We request time to discuss your terms." The alien made a sound like stones grinding together, laughter, perhaps. "There is nothing to discuss. You have seen what happens to those who resist. You have 2 hours to prepare for our arrival or we will demonstrate our power more directly." The screen went dark. "They're scanning us continuously," Ji-Eun reported. "Looking for threats." Taewon's communicator beeped. The message was simple: Phantom ready. He smiled for the first time in days. "Let them scan. They'll only see what we want them to see." The next hour passed slowly. The alien fleet maintained position, just far enough to react if Earth launched an attack. They were being careful, but also confident. Too confident. "Sir," Lieutenant Kong called out, "message from Luna Base. The Stormbringer is approaching from the dark side." Taewon nodded. "Put it on screen." The view changed to show a ship unlike anything humans had publicly built before. It was sleek and dark, almost invisible against space except where starlight caught its edges. No external engines were visible, no weapon ports or antennas. It moved silently, smoothly, like a shark in deep water. "Beautiful," Ji-Eun whispered. "Admiral," one of the hegemony officers reported, "I'm detecting an energy reading behind the planet's moon. I'm not sure what it is." Admiral Dredd leaned forward. "Explain." "It doesn't match any known human technology." "The signature is completely," the officer stopped as alarms began blaring across the bridge. On their sensors, a void appeared, something blocking their scans by absorbing them completely. The void moved, accelerating toward their position with impossible speed. "What is that?" Dredd demanded. For the first time in his military career, he felt something unfamiliar: fear. On the defense station, Taewon watched with satisfaction as the HSS Stormbringer emerged from Earth's shadow, heading directly toward the alien fleet. "Let's see how they handle something they didn't expect," he said quietly. "It's time they learned that humans are anything but primitive." Admiral Dret stood tall on the bridge of his command ship. His gray-green skin stretched over a frame nearly 7 feet high. The 4 mandibles around his mouth clicked together, a sound his crew recognized as pleasure. "Look at their planet," he said, pointing at the blue world on the main screen. "So much water. So many resources." His second-in-command, Officer Krell, nodded. "The Council will be pleased when we add it to the hegemony." Dret had conquered 3 worlds before. Each time, the pattern was the same. Show force, accept surrender, install governors. Humans would be no different. "Their defenses are minimal," the tactical officer reported. "Primitive satellites. A few armed stations. Small ships with chemical propulsion." Dret's mandibles clicked faster. "Begin the demonstration bombardment. Target their largest military installation. Low power, we don't want to damage what will soon be ours." The weapons officer pressed several buttons on his console. Targeting systems locked. Firing in 10 seconds. "Admiral." The sensor officer's voice rose in pitch. "I'm detecting something strange." Dret turned, annoyed at the interruption. "Explain." "An energy signature near the planet's moon. It's not in our database." On the screen, a dark spot appeared against the stars. It moved with purpose, heading straight toward the hegemony fleet. "Magnify," Dret ordered. The image zoomed in to show a ship unlike any he had seen before. Sleek and black, it seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. No visible engines pushed it forward, yet it accelerated rapidly. "Impossible," Dret whispered. "Where did that come from?" "Our intelligence said human ships are bulky with external engines and weapon systems." "Sir, it's heading directly for us," the tactical officer warned. "Speed increasing." Dret regained his composure. "Target that vessel. Full power." Inside the human ship HSS Stormbringer, Captain Suho Lee sat calmly in the command chair. The bridge was quiet, each officer focused on their station. Unlike the cluttered alien ships, the Stormbringer's bridge was clean and simple. "They've noticed us," reported Navigator Han. "Their weapons are powering up." Suho nodded. He was younger than most captains, but his eyes showed the experience of someone who had prepared for this moment for years. "Shields at maximum," he ordered. "Prepare countermeasures." The hegemony ships fired first. Bright energy beams cut through space toward the Stormbringer. "Evasive pattern Alpha," Suho commanded. The ship moved with impossible grace, sliding away from the alien attacks as if they were moving in slow motion. "Not a single shot connected." "They seem confused," Communications Officer Yoon said, monitoring the alien transmissions. "Their targeting systems can't lock onto our hull material." Suho allowed himself a small smile. "The Phantom program worked exactly as designed. Now it's our turn. Target their command ship engine systems only. Minimal force." "Sir?" Weapons Officer Kwan looked up. "We could destroy them completely." "We want survivors," Suho explained. "Survivors who will carry our message back to the hegemony. This isn't about revenge, it's about respect." On the hegemony command ship, panic was spreading. "Our weapons aren't connecting," the tactical officer shouted. "Their movement patterns don't match any known species." Dret gripped his command chair. "Continue firing. All ships, concentrate your attack." The 7 hegemony vessels fired together, lighting up space with energy beams. The human ship simply danced between them. Then the Stormbringer returned fire. Precise blue energy beams shot from invisible ports on the human vessel. They didn't target critical systems or life support, just engines and weapons. The beams passed through the alien shields as if they weren't there. "Shields failing," cried the defensive officer. "How is this possible?" Dret watched in horror as one by one, his ships lost power. 3 minutes after the battle began, 3 of his 7 ships floated dead in space. Another was spinning out of control, its engine core damaged. "Sir," Krell whispered, "we must retreat. We must warn the Council." For the first time in his military career, Dret gave the order to flee. "All remaining ships, prepare for emergency hyperspace jump." The human ship made no move to stop them. It simply held position, watching. As his damaged command vessel prepared to jump, Dret received one final message from the human ship. It appeared on all screens in perfect hegemony script. "The people of Earth are not primitive. We choose peace when possible, but we will defend ourselves if threatened. Return with respect or don't return at all." Then the stars stretched into lines as the remaining hegemony ships fled into hyperspace, carrying with them news that would shake the foundation of their empire. The Hegemony Council chamber was a massive room with 7 tall chairs for the leaders of each species. Today, all 7 seats were filled as Admiral Dret stood in the center, his head bowed. "One ship?" High Counselor Vex's voice boomed across the chamber. The counselor's 4 eyes blinked in different patterns, showing his anger. "A single human vessel disabled half your fleet?" Dret's mandibles twitched nervously. "Yes, Counselor. Their technology is unexpected. The ship absorbed our scans. It moved in ways our targeting systems couldn't predict." "Impossible," shouted another counselor. "Humans are primitive. Our studies showed they had only just reached their moon 50 years ago. They have developed along different paths than our sciences predicted," Dret explained. "Their ship had no visible engines, yet moved faster than our fastest vessels. Their weapons cut through our shields as if they weren't there." Whispers spread through the chamber. For centuries, the hegemony had expanded without serious resistance. 7 species united under one banner, conquering or absorbing all they encountered. The idea that humans could challenge them was shocking. Vex stood up, towering over everyone. "This cannot stand. If one world resists successfully, others will follow. Assemble the Grand Fleet. We will crush this human resistance before it inspires others." Far away from the Hegemony Council, deep in their controlled space, the HSS Stormbringer drifted between 2 gas giants. Its black hull was invisible against the darkness of space. Inside, most systems ran on minimal power. Captain Suho sat in his small office with Commander Hanul Beck. They studied a holographic map showing hegemony territory, thousands of star systems connected by trade and supply routes. "Earth Defense Command transmitted our new orders," Hanul said. Her short black hair framed a face that rarely showed emotion. "We are to avoid direct conflict with their main fleet." Suho nodded. "Direct confrontation isn't the goal. We need to make them think twice about attacking Earth. Infiltrate, gather intelligence, and disrupt their supply chains," Hanul summarized. "All while making them think we're everywhere at once." "The Council believes psychological warfare will be as effective as direct confrontation," Suho agreed. "These species have never encountered an enemy that could reach their core worlds. The fear alone might force negotiations." Hanul pointed to several locations on the map. "Their fuel processing happens here. Food distribution centers are here and here. Communication relay stations throughout this sector. We'll start with the fuel stations," Suho decided. "Without fuel, their Grand Fleet will have trouble reaching Earth." 3 days later, the Stormbringer appeared near a massive fuel processing station orbiting a gas giant called Tevrix. The station was 4 times larger than the human ship, with hundreds of workers from different hegemony species. "No weapons," Suho ordered as they approached. "Target only the fuel lines and storage tanks." The Stormbringer fired precise beams that cut through specific sections of the station. Alarms blared as workers ran to emergency ships. Within minutes, the station's main fuel reserves were venting into space, but no one was hurt. Before hegemony defense ships could arrive, the Stormbringer disappeared. Similar attacks happened across hegemony space over the next month. A communication hub went offline for 12 hours. A military supply depot found all its navigation systems scrambled. A troop transport discovered its engines disabled, forcing the soldiers to wait 2 days for rescue. Each time, the mysterious human ship appeared without warning, struck with surgical precision, and vanished before reinforcements arrived. And each time, the Stormbringer left behind recorded images of its attack, which spread through hegemony networks. On a trading post near the hegemony's center, a merchant named Krill sat with transport pilots in a busy bar. "They say humans can see the future," one pilot whispered. "How else could they know exactly when to strike?" "My cousin works security on Vorna Station," another added. "Says they detected 3 human ships at once, but when they sent defenders, nothing was there." "I heard they don't need ships at all," Krill said. "They can transform their bodies to travel through space. The ships we see are just their physical form." Across hegemony space, similar conversations happened in countless places. Fear spread faster than any ship could travel. Workers refused assignments on remote stations. Trading vessels requested military escorts. Some outer worlds began questioning whether the hegemony could protect them. In a secure command center, Vex received the latest reports of disrupted operations and growing fear. "How can one ship cause so much damage?" he demanded. "We don't know if it's one ship," his advisor replied nervously. "Our sensors detect human energy signatures in multiple places simultaneously." Vex slammed his fist down. "Find them. I want these humans destroyed." But aboard the Stormbringer, Suho and his crew continued their careful campaign, moving like ghosts through enemy territory, becoming the hunters rather than the hunted. Admiral Kree woke up to the sound of alarms. The loud noise filled his sleeping quarters, making his heart beat fast. He jumped out of bed and grabbed his uniform. "What's happening?" he shouted at his communication panel. "Sir, you need to come to the command center immediately," a nervous voice replied. Kree ran through the corridors of the Central Defense Hub, the most important military station in the hegemony. Workers and officers moved out of his way as he passed. Some looked scared. The command center doors slid open. Inside, 30 officers worked at their stations. Many were talking at once. Some were shouting. "Report!" Kree demanded, taking his position at the central platform. The main sensor officer looked up. His hands were shaking. "Human signature detected, Admiral." Kree felt a cold feeling in his stomach. For 3 months, the mysterious human ship had attacked hegemony installations across their territory. Each time, they struck quickly and disappeared before anyone could respond. "Where?" Kree asked. The officer pointed to the main display screen. "It's just sitting there, at the edge of our detection range." The screen showed a small blip of light against the darkness of space. The human ship wasn't hiding. It wasn't moving. It was just waiting. "Battle stations," Kree ordered, though his voice cracked as he spoke. All vessels formed defensive formation. Officers rushed to carry out his commands. Alarm sounds changed to the deeper tone of battle readiness. Around the defense hub, 20 hegemony warships began to move into a protective circle. "Sir," his second-in-command whispered, coming close so others wouldn't hear, "the civilian transports are requesting permission to flee the system." Kree looked around the command center. He saw fear in every face. The protocol was clear: no one leaves during a military alert. But the stories he had heard about the human ship made him pause. Some said it could destroy a station without being seen. Others claimed it could disable ships without harming the crews. The recordings of previous attacks showed a level of precision that seemed impossible. Permission granted for civilian evacuation, he decided. And send a message to High Command. "Tell them." He swallowed hard, "Tell them the humans have found our command center." His second-in-command nodded and moved away to send the message. On the main screen, Kree watched as civilian ships began leaving the space around the station. Hundreds of small transport vessels and personal ships moved in all directions, creating confusion. His military vessels struggled to maintain their defensive formation with so many ships passing through their lines. Aboard the HSS Stormbringer, Lieutenant Min Seo sat at the communications station. Her fingers moved quickly over the control panel as she listened to the hegemony transmissions. "They're breaking formation, Captain," she reported with a smile. "Civilian ships fleeing in all directions. Military vessels can't decide whether to pursue or maintain defensive positions." Captain Suho stood behind her, watching the data feeds. The bridge was calm compared to the chaos they were monitoring on the hegemony station. "And we haven't fired a single shot," Suho noted. After months of careful operations, they had finally reached their goal. The mere presence of a human ship was enough to cause panic. "The confusion level is at maximum, Captain," reported Commander Hanul from the tactical station. "Their command structure is breaking down." Suho nodded. "Activate the next phase. Broadcast the message on all frequencies." Min Seo pressed several buttons on her console. "Broadcasting now, Captain." Deep inside the hegemony defense hub, Admiral Kree was trying to restore order when every screen in the command center suddenly changed. The face of a human appeared, a male with calm eyes and a serious expression. "What is this?" Kree demanded. "How are they on our internal systems?" The human began to speak in perfect hegemony standard language. "I am Captain Suho Lee of the Earth Defense Forces. This demonstration was conducted with a single vessel. Earth now has a fleet. We do not seek your destruction, but we will not accept subjugation. The hegemony has 24 hours to open diplomatic channels for peace negotiations." The message repeated 3 times, then the screens returned to normal. But reports were coming in from across hegemony space. The same message had appeared on every communication device in their territory simultaneously. In the silence that followed, Admiral Kree looked at the fear on his officers' faces. He thought about the past 3 months, how one ship had disrupted their entire empire without firing a single deadly shot. "Sir," his second-in-command said quietly, "what are your orders?" Kree stared at the small blip on the screen that represented the human ship. After a long moment, he made his decision. "Contact High Command. Tell them I recommend accepting the human terms." He paused. "And may the Ancient Ones help us all if they're bluffing about having a fleet." The Grand Hall of the Hegemony was huge. Its ceiling reached up nearly 100 feet, with 7 giant statues representing the founding species of their alliance. The walls glowed with soft blue light from ancient energy sources. Captain Suho Lee walked slowly down the central path. He wore his black Earth defense uniform with no weapons. Though he was of average height for a human, most aliens in the room towered over him. Some had multiple limbs, others had strange skin colors, but all watched him with the same expression, fear mixed with curiosity. At the far end of the hall sat the High Council, 7 leaders, one from each hegemony species. High Counselor Vex sat in the center, his 4 eyes following Suho's every move. "Captain Suho Lee," Vex announced when Suho reached the center of the room. "You stand before the High Council as the first human to ever enter this sacred hall." Suho bowed slightly. "I am honored." "Are you?" Vex's voice carried a hint of anger. "Your single ship has caused more damage to our operations than any enemy in 200 years. "We defended ourselves," Suho replied calmly. "You attacked our world first." A murmur spread through the watching crowd. Many didn't know the full story of how the conflict began. "Your terms are unexpected," Vex said carefully, changing the subject. "You seek alliance rather than retribution?" Suho nodded. "Humans don't desire conquest. We want cooperation, but as equals, not subjects." Another council member leaned forward. This one had green scales and yellow eyes. "You disabled our ships. Disrupted our supply chains. Created fear among our people. And now you want to be our friends?" "We want peace," Suho corrected. "There's a difference." "And if we refuse?" another counselor challenged. This one was tall and thin with skin that seemed to shift colors as it moved. Suho didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked toward the main doors of the hall. They opened slowly, and 2 more humans entered. They carried a small device which they placed on the floor. "With your permission," Suho said to Vex. The High Counselor nodded, though his hands gripped his chair tightly. One of the humans activated the device. A large holographic image appeared in the air above them. It showed Earth's orbit. Where once there had been only scattered stations and old satellites, now a fleet of ships identical to the Stormbringer hung in formation. Dozens of them, their black hulls barely visible against space. The hall went completely silent. "We prefer peace," Suho said simply. "But we're prepared for alternatives." For 3 days, humans and hegemony leaders talked. Sometimes the discussions were heated. Other times, they found common ground. Suho explained human history, how their nations had fought each other for centuries before learning to work together. The hegemony leaders shared stories of their own past conflicts. On the 3rd day, reports came in from outer hegemony worlds. Some were threatening to leave the alliance if the central government couldn't protect them from human ships. Others were demanding equal treatment, inspired by Earth's resistance. Finally, the High Council agreed to new terms. Earth would join the hegemony not as a subject world, but as an equal member. Humans would share some technology but keep their military secrets. Trade would begin immediately. On the final day, as Suho prepared to return to the Stormbringer, Admiral Dret approached him in a quiet corridor. The Admiral looked different now, less confident, more thoughtful. "One question, human," Dret said quietly. "How many of those ships actually exist? Our deepest intelligence suggests you couldn't possibly have built more than 3. Suho smiled. He looked around to make sure they were alone, then leaned closer to the tall alien. "The beauty of uncertainty, Admiral, is that you'll never know for sure. Perhaps that's the greatest weapon humanity brings to the galaxy, not our technology, but the doubt we create in those who underestimate us." Dret's mandibles clicked slowly as he considered this. Clever. Very clever. Suho offered his hand in the human way of greeting. After a moment, Dret extended his own hand and they shook. An hour later, the Stormbringer left orbit around the hegemony homeworld. On the bridge, Suho stood at the main window, watching the stars. "Course set for Earth, Captain," reported Navigator Han. "We'll be home in 6 days." "Well done, everyone," Suho said to his crew. "History will remember this mission." Commander Hanul joined him at the window. "Do you think they'll honor the agreement?" Suho nodded. "They will. We showed them something they've never seen before, someone who could reach their home and choose not to destroy it." As the stars stretched into lines around them, Suho thought about how everything had changed. Not through overwhelming force, but through courage, intelligence, and the power of fear. The galaxy would never be the same again. And humanity would never be underestimated again. The end.